In the 1960s, a single income could buy you a house. Today, two incomes barely cover your rent. Your parents bought groceries for what you now spend on a single dinner. Your grandfather worked one job. You work two. He had time for family. You have time for exhaustion. This is not an accident. It is not because you are lazy. It is not normal inflation. It happened because of a specific decision made on a single Sunday night in August 1971, a decision that was kept secret from the public, a decision that transferred trillions of dollars from ordinary people to the ultra-wealthy, a decision that is still extracting your purchasing power every single day. Today, we open the vault on the 1971 secret. Chapter 1. The Golden Leash. Before 1971, the world worked differently. The US dollar was not just paper, it was backed by something real, physical gold. Actual metal locked in vaults in Fort Knox, Kentucky. Here is how it worked. If you held a dollar bill, you could theoretically walk into a bank and exchange it for a piece of gold. The government promised this. It was written into law. The dollar's value was tied directly to gold. This created a constraint, a leash on government power. The government could not simply print unlimited money because every dollar they printed had to be backed by real gold in the vault. Print too many dollars and people would demand the gold. Run out of gold and the system breaks. This constraint kept prices relatively stable. Your paycheck in 1950 had roughly the same purchasing power in 1960. Wages kept up with inflation because inflation was limited by the gold standard. You could buy a house on one income because house prices were not skyrocketing. The system was not perfect, but it worked. It protected ordinary people. It prevented the government from printing its way into oblivion. It kept the middle class middle class. The elites hated it because the gold standard meant they could not have unlimited leverage. They could not borrow infinite amounts. They could not print money to bail themselves out of bad decisions. The constraint that protected ordinary people also limited the power of the elite, so they made a choice. On August 15, 1971, they cut the leash. Chapter 2. The Camp David Heist. August 13, 1971. Secret meetings at Camp David. President Richard Nixon met with his economic team. The situation was dire from the government's perspective. The United States had been printing dollars to fund wars. Vietnam, Korea, the Cold War, massive military spending. The government needed unlimited money, but the gold standard was limiting them. Foreign governments were also a problem. They were holding dollars and asking for the gold backing them. Germany wanted gold, France wanted gold, Britain wanted gold. The US vault was draining. The choice was simple but radical. Either drastically cut government spending, which was politically impossible, or break the gold standard, abandon the promise, take the gold and give the public paper. They chose option 2. On August 15, 1971, President Nixon went on television. He announced that the United States would no longer exchange dollars for gold. The gold standard was finished. The dollar was now backed by nothing but the government's promise. He called it a temporary measure. It was permanent, and it was the largest sovereign default in history. The government had promised that every dollar was backed by gold. Now it said that promise was void. Citizens and foreign governments holding dollars had been robbed of the asset those dollars supposedly represented. But the theft was legal. It was announced on television. It was wrapped in economic language, so nobody called it what it was: a heist. Chapter 3. The Great Wealth Transfer. What happened next changed everything about your life. Without the gold standard constraining it, the government could print unlimited money. The Federal Reserve could expand the money supply as fast as it wanted. There was no limit, no constraint, no accountability. So they printed. The first people to receive the newly printed money were the government contractors, the Wall Street banks, the large corporations. They spent this new money into an economy where prices had not yet adjusted. They got rich first. By the time that money filtered down to ordinary workers, to you, to your parents, to your grandparents, prices had already adjusted. Inflation had already arrived. The purchasing power had already been extracted. Here's what this meant in real terms. In 1970, a house cost $30,000. The average worker earned $10,000 a year. It took 3 years of income to buy a house. Today, a house costs $400,000. The average worker earns $60,000 a year. It takes 6.5 years of income to buy a house. Milk cost 80 cents in 1970. It costs $4 today. That is a 5-fold increase. But your salary has not increased 5-fold. It has barely doubled. Rent in 1970 was $150 a month. Today it is $2,000. Your parents could rent for a quarter of their income. You rent for half of yours. This is not inflation. Inflation is when everything goes up together. This is a specific wealth transfer. Hard assets, real estate, stocks, commodities, land, exploded in value. Paper wages did not. Who benefited from 1971? The people who owned hard assets, real estate, stocks, businesses, land, farmland. These assets went up in nominal value as the currency was debased. Who suffered? The people who held wages, who saved in dollars, who trusted the system. Their purchasing power was slowly stolen and transferred to asset owners. Warren Buffett understood 1971. He owned businesses, he owned real estate, he owned stocks. As the currency was debased, his assets exploded in nominal value. He became one of the richest people in history. The ordinary worker did not understand 1971. They held wages and savings. As the currency was debased, their purchasing power quietly disappeared. This is the 1971 secret. This is the mechanism that transferred trillions of dollars from the middle class to the ultra-wealthy. This is why your life is harder than your parents' life, and why your children's lives will be harder than yours unless they understand what happened in 1971 and position accordingly. Chapter 4. The Final Warning. The elites know something the rest of us are supposed to ignore. They know that the fiat experiment is failing. They know that printing unlimited paper money eventually destroys the currency. They know that the game cannot continue indefinitely. So they are running. They are exiting the currency system. Central banks around the world are buying gold at the fastest pace since the 1960s. Not because gold is a good short-term investment, because they are preparing for what comes after the dollar. The ultra-wealthy are buying farmland, not for the return on investment, because when currency fails, you need food. Land that produces food is the ultimate hard asset. They are buying real estate, not for rental income, because real estate holds value when currency does not. They are converting paper wealth into hard assets as fast as they can, because they understand that the currency system that was created in 1971, unlimited printing, no constraint, pure fiat, is reaching its endpoint. They are not stupid enough to hold paper, but the public is being told to do exactly that. Hold your money in the bank, trust the system, invest in the stock market, stay in the currency. While the elites are running toward hard assets, ordinary people are still holding paper. This is the final transfer, not through 1971-style debasement, but through the direct exchange of paper for hard assets as the system transitions. 53 years ago, the government severed the dollar from gold and promised it would be temporary. It has been permanent, and it has cost the middle class trillions in purchasing power. The elites who understand the 1971 secret are positioning for what comes next. They are converting fiat into hard assets before the conversion becomes impossible. You have the same choice. You can stay in the currency system that was designed to transfer your wealth to those who understood it first. Or you can understand the 1971 secret and position like those who have already done so. The system will never tell you this truth. The financial media will never broadcast it. The government will never announce it. But the data is available. The history is documented. The pattern is clear. Stop saving in a currency designed to melt. Subscribe to Wealth History Vision. We show you the historical heists the system doesn't want you to understand. Stay awake in a sleeping world.